Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Have to excuse me today. I think it's going to be a very, very, very muddy one today. I've got my wellies. I've put an old pair of jeans on. I am prepared because I think it's going to be mud central when we get down there today. The path's already a bit muddy and slippy as well, as I'm already on my way down. But there you go. Anyway, it's been an interesting week, I think, so far. in terms of sort of things to cover. Catherine G, good morning to you. Disgruntled Brummy, good morning to you. Like I say, good morning, good morning, good morning. And I don't know if you caught Michael Gove yesterday trying to say that he's got, or at least he's giving more money to charities and community groups. Pretty Bird, greetings to you. Helen, good morning to you from Leeds. Like I say, good morning, good morning, good morning. Like I say, hit the like, hit the share button on your way in and sort of sit down, settle in and strap in, as they say. Peace out. I absolutely love Michael Gove. Well, it's April Fool's Day. truly, Michael Gove is the best dancer in Westminster. I think if there was such an award, Michael Gove is absolutely the one to win that award. That's very true. Mithril, good morning. You're semi on time. No, you're on time. You only just started, so you're on time. Don't worry about it. So yes, welcome, one and all. Pretty Bird, good greetings, good morning to you. Let's try and, as you can see here, complete and absolute mud central. This is because of the cows that the farmers brought into this field, and they've absolutely churned up this path to no end. Because of it, it's made it an absolute nightmare to get through. But then again, I suppose, well, that's cows for you, really. Don't think you can get out of it either way. And I want to reiterate what I said yesterday in my video about the sort of the charities and community groups essentially closing today. Well, yesterday. A lot of charity and community groups have closed their doors yesterday, unfortunately, because, like I say, they've lost access to EU funding. And, like I say, because of austerity, it was these charities and community groups that sort of stepped up when the councils went, well, we don't have... the budgets are being cut, our budgets are being slashed, so we can no longer provide such services. So as a result, you had those charities and community groups step up. In many cases throughout the whole austerity period, and they relied on that EU funding. And it's not just that as well. Lots of councils that we've talked about before rely on the EU business and development grants that are no longer there now, that the government and the Brexiteers have promised multiple times to replace, and yet haven't even come close to replicating what was on offer to many of these councils, which, you know, I've said before, is going to be, it's going to be bad. We've seen, you know, the suffering that was inflicted upon people by austerity, because austerity was a political choice made by the Conservative Party. That was the choice they made. There were tons of other different options they could have gone down. A ton of different options, and people were telling them, do not go down the austerity route. And one of the bizarre ones, I don't know if people remember this, but I think it was the 2014, I believe, Conservative conference, there was a guy who came forward, Leon Holmes, good morning to you. There was a guy who came forward and he was presenting, not at like a Conservative, like a fringe event, it was actually the main part of the conference, and he was advocating openly, saying, look, if you go more into austerity, if you go in this direction, you're going to deprive a whole lot of people, you're going to make a lot of people more poorer, so you need to invest in housing, you need to invest in public services. And they have been told multiple times the reasons why they need to do this, because if you do this, if you invest in this stuff now, well, it's cheaper than if you just leave it. It's one of the many bizarre things that I suppose we see, from homelessness to drug abuse to whatever, you know, asset of poverty you can think of. If the government actually spends money on it, it reduces the spending long term. And there are multiple studies, multiple examples showing that. And yet again, they keep making the exact same political choices. And now you've had many, you know, I think charities and these community groups now lose that funding from the EU, and ultimately it's not going to be replaced, even though Michael Gove was out there yesterday saying, oh no, I'm going to replace it, don't worry. You know, no one's going to lose any of their money. We've heard this song and dance before multiple times, and unfortunately it's going to be communities that suffer because they've lost access to those groups. And it's the exact same thing, Alan Page, good morning, from a CPT country. I didn't know the UK was a Pacific country. Exactly, I didn't either. Fat Gasm, good morning to you as well. But this is the worst part about all of this, really, is that now they've gone and done this. Now they've gone and removed those charities and those community groups providing that service. Who provides them? Well, no one, unfortunately. And things are about to get a lot worse. A lot worse. Like I say, we saw during austerity when they took money away from councils to be able to provide these services. That's when the charities and the community groups had to step in more. Well, they've got no money now, or at least access to a lot less money than they used to. So what do you think happens next? Stanley Beckett, good morning to you. Looking forward to your first walk in Kuala Lumpur, celebrating the going globe of the Yorkshire pudding. Well, here's the secret. The Yorkshire pudding never needed to be part of the Pacific Partnership to go global. It was already global. And you haven't lived until you've been to Leeds Market and you've had a Yorkshire pudding wrap. Or you go to, I think they've also got a place in York as well. Oh, nothing quite having like a Sunday lunch and a Yorkshire pudding wrap. Oh, absolutely beautiful. But if someone out there is part of the Yorkshire Pudding Wrap Company and does want to sponsor me, I will gladly accept that sponsorship payment in Yorkshire pudding wraps. You don't have to pay me a single penny. Oh. But yes, so I suppose that's the rub of things. And honestly, it's got me a bit disappointed, to be honest. It's got me a bit down and depressed, because there's going to be a ton of community groups and charities that end up closing, or at least, as we saw, having to reduce what they provide. So, you know, maybe they can't provide as much as they used to anymore because they've lost all that EU funding. And it's you know, and we saw what happened during austerity. Now, it's obvious what's going to happen now. Things are going to get a lot worse. And the thing is that this whole austerity, the fact that people felt, you know, things were getting worse, pretty much driven by austerity, is what drove Brexit. So who knows, unfortunately, what could be around the corner next. And it's very bad, to be honest, but hey, you know, other things to talk about, I suppose. Sunak said the reason he voted for Brexit was for Pacific Partnership. Well, yeah, it doesn't surprise me, Cathal. Does not surprise me. Because one of the things we haven't really talked about yet, when we discuss it, we've mentioned it, but we haven't delved into it yet, is the secret courts that are all a part of the Pacific Partnership. And this is why we need really to start campaigning against joining it. Because those secret courts, you ignore everything else, those secret courts, they're going to cost us billions. Because any policy or piece of legislation that costs a company profit, they can now sue our government. Catalan 100, good morning to you. So you're going to have companies suing the UK government left, right and centre for the fact that we've got high standards and like high regulations. And even, and this is where it gets really worrying, even the fact that we have a higher minimum wage, because that'll cost those companies profits. So you look at just that fact alone and you're like, why are they so obsessed with joining? Yeah, exactly. It's the malign sovereignty of the of those courts. It's absolutely insane and ridiculous, but that's the rub of it. You're going to see a lot of corporations do that, and the thing is, they're going to be done in, of course, these secret courts. We're going to find out about probably a lot of the secret court stuff after, and well, you know, what are we meant to do? Oh, hang on, is that the bull? I can't see. He's got his back to me. Hang on. This might be a lot shorter good morning walk today. If that is the bull. Where's he down there? I can't see. Oh no, it might be. So this might be a shorter good morning walk than normal. The bull is sort of blocking our way. I don't know if you can see him in the background. But yeah, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to risk it today. But we'll do a different alternative route. Just trying to think, where can we go now? Oh, we'll go this way. Yeah, we'll try to go this way. Well, we'll give this way a try. Yeah, good morning run. And yeah, actually today I am going to do a video on Liam Fox's piece in the Tory graph crowing about it. In fact, this is, if you may remember, we always said this. If there was like a genuine Brexit benefit, if there was a genuine Brexit benefit, then the Brexiteers would be talking about it non-stop, constantly. And they believe that joining the Pacific Partnership is a Brexit benefit. So what's happened? They're talking about it non-stop. Absolutely non-stop. And because of that, they're all writing, I don't know if you've noticed this as well, all these pieces that are incredibly pro sort of Pacific Partnership have either been in the Telegraph or the Spectator. And Shaka Shingham has been, I think, the most active about writing these pieces, because he's written about 3 different pieces, pretty much all saying the same thing, how amazing and wonderful the Pacific Partnership is. Remember, Shaka Shingham is part of the IEA, the Institute of Economic Affairs, the exact same people who brought us Liz Truss. And it's those exact same people that have been pushing to get into the Pacific Partnership. Because if you get into the Pacific Partnership, then this brings into question, first of all, lots of our high standard rules and regulations. There's big questions then about, are we having to accept loads of imports that are produced at a lower standard and at lower regulations, which is going to affect our domestic market massively. And then you've got some other serious questions, because remember, we've just signed all that Windsor framework. So there's big questions to see, or at least to ask, is that Windsor framework actual now compatible when we are part of the Pacific Partnership? Because I'm not 100% sure it actually is. And remember, all these trade deals that we've done so far, including the Pacific Partnership, all been done behind closed doors. And one thing that they've said exclusively about this is Well, they've been desperately trying to push the idea that we can get sort of these lower standards, these lower regulations into it, and that's not what the British public actually want. If you have a look at polls and where they're polled on, oh, do you like your high standards and regulations? The vast majority of those polls come back saying, yes, actually, we do like our high standards and regulations. Any word from the DUP on the Pacific Partnership? Potentially not. G-Ross, prices are creeping up in Australia. Yeah, and that's another thing as well, supply routes. The pandemic showed that it is actually more beneficial to have shorter supply routes, not longer supply routes. And yet you've had Kimmy Badenoch and some of these other, all the other, typical Brexiteer suspects, out there saying, well, this'll help to bring down food prices. And you're like, what do you mean it's going to help bring down food prices? What do you mean? It's going to essentially decimate the UK food industry because there's going to be a ton of cheap, low-regulated products coming into the country because the Pacific Partnership has expressly said you will accept what it is and that there is no negotiation. And there is no negotiation as part of the Pacific Partnership. So it's hilarious when we've seen people like Sunak and Badenoch and even Liz Truss come out and say, oh yes, I negotiated our way into the Pacific Partnership. What a fantastic deal I've got for us. Well, first of all, we actually haven't seen the deal. I want to remind people of that. We actually have not seen the deal. This idea that it removes tariffs from about 90% of products, I'm going to say that's a lie, because I haven't seen any evidence at the moment to say that that is a factual statement. And it's the exact same lie that Boris Johnson produced. In fact, let's go this way. We haven't been this way for a while. Let's go this way. We'll go up the hill. And if we're lucky, there might be a load of lambs around this time. I'm not sure actually if it's lambing season yet, or have we missed lambing season? Or are we entering lambing season? I don't know. But we'll see. There we go. Oh dear. Forget how muddy this path can be. Vase of flowers. Brexit seems a long time ago, but now it was relatively recent, I suppose. Oop. Ed Miliband. Oh, Barnsley Triangle. No, actually, we've dodged the Barnsley Triangle, but I don't know if we might have some interference. I'm not 100% sure. Chatty Rat, good morning to you. Toast think every day is April Fool Day for the British public. Yeah, exactly. I think this is it. They're trying to rely on as much sort of stealth as possible. I mean, remember we were promised that we would have all these big votes on these trade deals. And when we look at a lot of other countries, we've said this before, like signing trade deals or doing trade deals is a massive part of politics in many different countries. especially non-EU countries, because all that is sort of moved into sort of the EU Parliament. And this is still part of the sort of government strategy for global Britain, which is why, like I say, we're going to go later over today. Liam Fox's piece he wrote in the Tory graph, crowing about how this is going to prove all the Remainers wrong. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. That's for sure. You have to excuse me as well, because this path is ridiculously muddy and slippy. I'm just trying to carefully navigate myself through. What are the consequences of leaving it? Actually, very little. This is it. One of the big things that you've seen a lot of the Brexiteers crowing about this, saying this makes leaving, or at least rejoining, impossible. It's simply not true, because actually to leave the Pacific Partnership is actually miles easier than actually leaving the EU, because we've only got to give 6 months notice. Here we are along the river. Oh. This is it, trying to muddle on through this field. Yeah, all can be done is just to point out the nonsense, and this is it. I generally think what needs to happen now is there needs to be an actual proper campaign group set up very, very differently and away from the EU group, even though technically I suppose it would be part of it. But the idea is you sort of reduce the criticism, and its whole point of the campaign group is just don't join the Pacific Partnership, and to start putting out stuff about how bad it actually is in the Pacific Partnership, why it's not actually that good, why it is, bad for workers and, bad for our sort of economy, because it doesn't really benefit us, because again, we're not in the Pacific, the name is in the name, that it's in the name, the Comprehensive Pacific Trade, the Comprehensive Progressive Trade Pacific Partnership, that's it. Give it its full name and title. Hence why I always call it the Pacific Partnership, because it's easier just to call it that. Morning all referendum now, we must leave. Well, actually this is actually quite interesting, because you see, a lot of people are actually pointing out to leave an economic trade bloc took a referendum, and yet to join the Pacific Partnership, hang on, you'll have to bear with me, this is a bit of a dodgy road. So yeah, it's a bit of a dodgy road, this one. And like I say, it's even worse coming the other way. I say you've really got to listen. You've really got to listen when you're around this corner here. But anyway, across there we go. Road safety. Road safety. here we are, going to climb the hill. It's the worst part, actually, going up the hill. But it is a good view, at least, when we get to the top. But I have to wonder, at what point do sides actually start to wake up and talk about, you know, trade deals? What point do trade deals re-enter our politics? And most of you will know that George Eustace is potentially going to lead one soon. And of course, going back to the fact of, you know, well, where's our referendum to join the Pacific Partnership, guys? Where's that? You know, and it actually sets a very interesting precedent, because now the Tories have gone, well, we can actually join a trade bloc without a referendum, which sets, like I said, an interesting precedent. Because now, let's say the effects of Brexit become obvious. Well, what about a future government just deciding to rejoin the EU? I mean, it's a trade bloc. It's yeah, exactly. This is it. I think we should actually start to call for a referendum on it, on joining it. That would be hilarious. On this, because it would certainly scupper the plans. So Larry the cat, hurrah, takes it out of you and up the hill. Hurrah, the Brexiteers all shout. A new trade deal that's worth the Mars bar and some belly button fluff over 15 years. Roll out the bunting and wave the Union Jack banners and have lashings of ginger beer. Whew, certainly. Patrick H, good morning to you. Whew. This is it, and I think the Remain campaign should actually start to call for a referendum on joining the Pacific Partnership. Otherwise, if they sign this trade deal to join this trade bloc, then essentially any future government could not only just leave the Pacific Partnership, because after all, wasn't in their manifesto to join the Progressive Partnership. It could just leave that and then join the EU, Single Market and Customs Union. Because, well, after all, that's a trade bloc. And if we get to join the, you know, Pacific Partnership without a referendum. Are you aware of the Rejoin EU party? Yes. But you know my thoughts on third parties. you know my thoughts on third parties. I'll tell you what, actually, no, we'll turn around here. So we'll go back to the top of the hill. Start our way back. But yes, anyway, we've got good views, I suppose, if you can see them. Enjoy the view. You can see Dodworth, I want to say. I think in that direction. Someone will probably say, no, that's not Dodworth. But yes, in that direction. And then, I don't know if you can see this. Patrick 8 is a petition up and running. Well, like I say, link it to me, Patrick. Send it to me on Twitter, and we'll do some promoting of it. Because here's the thing: if it took a referendum for us to leave the EU and that trade bloc, then it should absolutely take a referendum to join another one. If not, then any future government can leave the Pacific Partnership and join the single market. After all, it only takes 6 months notice. That's it. It takes a single 6-month notice period to leave the Pacific Partnership. This whole idea, and the thing is, if they don't say, oh well, actually we're not going to hold a referendum, then this sort of calls into question the original referendum in the first place. Because this was, according to some people, it was all about doing trade, increasing our trade, and leaving this trade bloc. 52% against joining the Pacific Partnership would be fun. Oh, there we go, we're back. We're just out there a bit, but no, we're back now. Like I say, welcome back. And this is it. There's so much stuff you could run in a referendum, which we could just campaign and say, hey, look, join the Pacific Partnership is ridiculous. It's a dumb idea. There's a ton of really undemocratic things about it. It's not going to help our industries. Oh, tell you what, if you go to my community tab or where I've posted today's latest meme, just post it under there or somewhere, because I should be able to see it. I do have a Facebook page as well. If you want to post it on there, I will post it on there as well. Oh no. But there we go. Petition on the CPP on the Pacific Partnership membership is closed already. Yeah, it won't move the UK to the Pacific. Exactly. Yeah, don't forget to click on the like buttons while you're here, guys. Remember to click the share button as well. Like I say, that will be a massive help. Whoop, there we go. This is it when you try to sort of move through a very muddy field. I'm trying to slip and slide and keep everything up. There we go. But yeah, I think calling for a referendum on joining the Pacific Partnership, I think would be a massive win for us. And even if one does actually happen, that is a campaign they are necessarily not going to want to run. Because like I say, there is a ton of really negative outcomes that all the Brexiteers were complaining about being in the EU, which are completely true for joining the Pacific Partnership as well. So, there we go. So that could actually prove to be somewhat quite interesting if they did try to get out of that, because it does raise, as we said, the interesting question of, well, politically, Rishi Sunak is joining a trade bloc that is, you know, and we've just had a big referendum not too long ago to leave a trade bloc. So why aren't you offering the British public a referendum on this? And if you are going to refuse a referendum, then this means that any future government could leave the Pacific Partnership and rejoin the single market in the EU, because after all, that's just a trade bloc if we're just going to rejoin the single market customs union. So they're pretty much setting themselves up for an interesting conundrum if they want to know, if they want to try and do it that way. So that would be quite fun. That's for sure. And then here's the thing, any future government could say, okay, we're going to join the single market customs union, and then later down the line just say, well, okay, we're going to have a referendum about becoming, you know, full EU members. You know? This is it. And if they don't do it, if they don't actually go for this referendum, if they're actually shown to be hypocrites about joining this, then it opens up a huge door to a future return to the single market. So this is going to be very, very interesting if we can actually really sort of, you know, fight a referendum, and also secretly make it one talking about the pros of being members of the you know, single market and customs union. Because, as we said, all the benefits that you've seen people like Kimmy Badenoch talk about recently when she had her little interview, every benefit they talk about joining the Pacific Partnership applies doubly for the EU. So it's very interesting. Yeah, 8% over that long is an absolutely rubbish deal. This is why if you've seen a couple of the posts, like I say, we're going to go over Lord Frost's post about this later. They don't talk about it as oh, you know, let's just ignore this trade deal. We're joining it for geopolitical reasons. Which, again, interesting, because geopolitically, we would be better served being in the EU. You know? So it's very, very interesting to see if we can get that, to start pushing that. And like I say, if we can get the bear in mind the petition to get a House of Parliament debate on sort of an independent inquiry onto the impact of leaving the European Union did reach 10,000. So that is going to be something that gets debated in Parliament soon. So this could prove, I think, to be a bit of an interesting point, but it is a massive something we should do. I think as rejoiners, we should sort of force a referendum on Pacific Partnership membership. That should absolutely happen, because it is something they do not want to happen. And if they actually have to start talking about the Pacific Partnership, well, very quickly there are far more negatives than there are positives about this, and it can be made into another, again, sort of stealth referendum, because, as we said, every single benefit of joining the Pacific Partnership, not only is it better for us economically, it applies doubly so if we were to rejoin the EU, or even just join the Single Market and Customs Union. So, yeah. I don't think they've realised maybe what a minefield they've walked into by just saying, oh yes, we're going to join this. Well, hold on, because this isn't just a trade deal, this is a trade bloc. And Brexiteers made a big thing about having a referendum on a trade bloc. So this could be a big thing, we could make a big thing for us. And it would be actually a very, very interesting test of, should I say, future things to come. Because joining the Pacific Partnership is not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Not only that, bizarrely, we can actually use the Trump talking points that he used during his presidential campaign against joining the Pacific Partnership, because if we were to join the Pacific Partnership, there is a very large possibility that we will see businesses basically just get moved overseas, that jobs will be exported. And remember, this was one thing that Brexit was meant to be all about: bringing back UK manufacturing, bringing back the sort of sector. So this is one of those things, bizarrely, we could actually use. Because now you could put Brexiteers at odds with trying to argue from messages, you know, all the points that Trump had made about joining the Pacific Partnership. But apparently he was massively for Brexit. So yeah, that's again, that could be interesting. That could be very, very interesting. That's for sure. Navigate my way through this mud swamp. There we go. Yeah. I'm wading through it. There we go. Yeah, you can see that Trump, Biden's hardly rushing to rejoin. Exactly. I think this should actually be something the sort of us rejoiners should actually sort of really focus on. I mean, I've said, I think it was Patrick H has said he started a referendum. So I think you could, not a referendum, a poll on the Gov. But if you could drop that in the chat, a link to the a link to that, and then if someone could link that to my Twitter page as well, because obviously Patrick said you don't have a Twitter anymore. Ooh. But yeah, if someone could do that, that would be fantastic. Oh, you didn't start? It was there already. Oh, okay. So right, I'll have a look for that later. I will have a very interesting look for that later. Yeah. Oh, hang on. There we go. The farmer really needs to put a new gate on this because it's. That's it, that'll do. Oh yes, have you heard Labour's plan to sort that? They're going to remove the cap on the fines, and then all that money is going to be sort of ring fenced to improve it. It's going to be automatically fined. So that'll be good. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to quickly mention. Trump's indictment. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. That brought a brief smile to my face when I heard about that they've decided to charge Trump, that he's going to be arrested. So that could be very, very interesting. That could prove to be very interesting, very much indeed. Number 3, good morning to you. Move on up. So, yeah, exactly. It was amazing news. I agree with you that. All we need now is Johnson to lose his by-election. In Hartsby 2 weeks ago, Nowcast predicted Oliver Dowden's majority is now down less to 500. I looked yesterday, and it's now back to a safe seat for him. Well, maybe not, because I don't know if you've heard something else we're probably going to cover on Conservative Home, because it sees a lot of interesting stuff happens. There's a couple of Conservatives in marginal seats who have decided to stand down at the next election. But they've said, we're more than happy to be reselected as long as we get given safe seats. So yeah, it's interesting times, I think. Interesting times. Anyway, so as always, thank you very much for joining us today on today's Good Morning Walk. Like I say, please do remember to click on the like and share button before you go. If you are new, remember to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel for more delving into the bizarre world of UK politics. Of course, you come for the ponies, but you stay for the politics. As someone said recently, I should start trying as a tagline. But yes, as always, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Go out, enjoy your weekend. And as always, if you can't be safe, be sensible. Enjoy yourselves, have fun. And of course, we'll see you all